It's a midweek of EPL action on the slate, and there are some teams in desperate need of improvement. You know who you are. I don't need to spell it out. Elsewhere, a resurgent United takes on a stalwart Arsenal, and we, for some reason, come up with way too many biblical allusions. You'll have to figure that out yourself. The doldrums of winter begin today on Coffee with a Kick. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with a Kick. Be sure to tune in for our Thanksgiving recap episode, which will come out after this one. But, we've got more pressing matters at hand right now. Full match day set to come across these couple days here in the middle. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. With the first one coming up here later this afternoon at 2:30. Anything you want to say before we get into it here, Keegan?
It's December. It's snowing here in Nashville. I can feel the Christmas cheer already descending upon this midweek. I don't know what the weather is in London, but I'm sure it's cold. I'm sure it's damp. And I'm sure these guys are ready for some midweek 3 days rest football. Let's get into it. That's what I say.
I'm sure that is exactly their attitude. So we will go ahead and with that same sort of fervent enthusiasm, we're going to jump into Ipswichtown and Crystal Palace at Portsmouth Road.
The exact type of game that's going to keep up the fervor.
It's going to keep you. It's going to keep you warm way down in your soul. It's going to make you feel good. I am going to take Crystal Palace in this one. I really do hope that Ipswich Town wins it. But I'm going to ride with them Eagles, even though their kits are, of course, atrocious. I will take them I'll have them taking full honors 2-1 here away at Ipswich Town.
I've got it flipped. I've got it 2-1 Ipswich beating Crystal Palace. I think Ipswich has impressed me with their form. Crystal Palace has kind of been getting lucky. Outside of Tottenham, the own goal was unfortunate, but Crystal Palace, they haven't been dominant in any game. So I think at home, Ipswich has the crowd behind them, and they're going to get full 3.
I kind of hope that I'm wrong on that. I think that it would be nice for Ipswich Town. I mean, you need them to move up the table more than I do. But yeah. I want them ponies to... what is it? I figured out that they're called the Blues and also the Tractor Boys. That's right. The Tractor Boys are going to take full honors.
The Ed Sheerans, that's for sure.
That's right. The Ed Sheerans, for sure. For sure. Then to the other Tuesday match, we have Leicester City hosting West Ham. How do you have this one going here? Do you think that good old Van Nistelrooy is going to be able to right the ship for this one?
I think there's going to be excitement around the first home match that he'll be in charge. I don't think he gets full 3, though. I think West Ham's been putting up some goals here recently. I think it continues. 2-2 draw is what I'm throwing out.
I have 2-2. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to break the rule.
Sometimes.
I'm going to break the rule. I'm going to keep it 2-2. That's how confident I am in it, which means you should definitely pick against it. I have the same thing, 2-2, Leicester and West Ham. Just because I don't think either side knows how to win at the moment. They know how to lose and draw. But let's see. When was the last? We'll see. That's what I think at the moment. Leicester has not won since what? Back on Matchday 8 when they beat Southampton at Southampton. So Leicester will be happy with a point at this time, and just manage to keep their head above true relegation zone, I think. With the rest of the match day. Well, it'll depend. If with a point, it'll depend on... No, I think I have my Wolves... Well, if I have my Wolves winning, then actually that would put them in relegation. Do I have my Wolves winning? We'll see, because they are next up. Everton hosts my Wolves on Wednesday, and I do have my Wolves winning, which means that they will be up to safety in 17th. 3-1 victory for my Wolves. Wolves, all of a sudden, Cunha has suddenly blossomed into a star performer for them, and they are scoring goals with relative ease, which is something that could not be said of them in recent past. So 3-1 victory for my Wolves over Everton. And, I'll be sitting pretty here at the beginning of December.
Since you broke the rule, I'm also going to break the rule.
Oh, you're going to break the rule too.
And I had 3-1 as well. And I'm confident in this one because of what you said. Wolves have been scoring freely and frequently. And Fulham, not so much. They've been a team that's really only getting one goal in the past few match days. So I'm going to go... Sorry, Everton. I'm going to go 3-1. Everton not been playing well. So 3-1 Wolves over Everton. Fulham, they're later. They are later,
and I have things going better for them than they do for Everton. And then to a rather pivotal match for it being the first match day of December, because Manchester City is on a streak that an ignominious streak, I would say, with just losses upon squandered victories upon losses. Manchester City takes on Nottingham Forest at the Etihad. You have to have them winning this one, right?
3-0. I have them riding the ship. I think Doku and Grealish and De Bruyne all start. Mm-hmm. Holland, I think, gets a goal. I think this is a good match to get it going. Nuno is a good manager. Obviously, he'll potentially cause some trouble, but the way that Wolves used to play City, Nottingham plays a lot like Nuno's Wolves did. And Man City used to beat them 3-4, 5-0. I'm going to go 3-0. Boy, I hope I'm right, because if I'm not, it's going to be... I mean, I might as well just bring some whiskey on the pod and just start drinking and see what happens, because might not make it through the season, I don't know, but 3-0 is going to take the cake.
As everyone had it, Manchester City, Nottingham Forest, the classic 5-6 matchup to begin December. That's exactly what everyone had. Don't look at what we picked at the beginning of the season. You definitely didn't have Nottingham Forest at 19th. That's totally untrue. Whoever would have said something like that. I have this same result, but much more nervy. A 1-0 victory for Manchester City over Nottingham Forest. If you get that starting lineup, if you've got Doku and De Bruyne and Grealish all in there, that brings a lot more creativity onto the wings than they've shown in the past couple match days, which then helps bring Erling Haaland to life because he can operate in the middle with a little bit more space, a little bit more room. We haven't seen one of those classic De Bruyne balls to Erling Haaland in months at this point, it feels like. So I'm looking for maybe one of those to come in. I mean, I'm looking for that for your result of 3-0. For my 1-0, I just think that they're still going to be trying to put things back together, right the ship. They do get that step in the right direction, but it's still a short week. I mean, they've played at this point. This will be their fourth match in 18 days? Is that right? Going back to the previous Saturday? This is Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. That's a lot of matches, and they have another one coming up this weekend, of course, with the standard scheduling of things. So we'll see. I mean, we both have a victory for them, so that's good. And then Newcastle and Liverpool also on Wednesday at St. James's Park in Newcastle. These are all part of the 2:30 group on Wednesday. I have this one. I have Newcastle doing you a favor here. I have Newcastle getting a point out of Liverpool 1-1. Liverpool's having a big, they just beat City. with some relative ease. It was a little bit close there in the early parts of the second half, but I think that they take a step back on this one. They've been playing outstanding across the board, both in the EPL and in the Champions League. You think they have to stumble at some point. And I think giving up a point at St. James's Park is one where, in the early days of December, also on the fourth match out of 5 matches in a 3-week span, they'll start to accumulate some of them heavy legs.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool, same deal with City. This will be their 4th match in the last 10 days, dating back to last Saturday, the 23rd, all the way to now. I have it 2-1 Newcastle.
Wow.
Like, if you listen to our episode coming out with the full recap, the Mondo episode, you'll hear Newcastle have not been in good form, but they're the type of team that out of nowhere could just spurn together a result that shocks everyone. I think this is the one. They don't play midweek, so actually I think they play in Europa maybe, but they didn't play this past weekend. But anyway, I mean, Newcastle, I think they're the type of team that can beat Liverpool, because Liverpool, again, tired legs. They're going to be, one of those high highs of beating City.
Yep.
Maybe this will bring them back down. It's Liverpool, so this could end 3-0 for all we know, Liverpool winning. But I'm going to go 2-1 just for the point play.
We're going to get some Bruno Guimaraes action. That's what's going to happen here for Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes brace. I'm putting it on you. Because I have it as a 1-1 draw. I mean, the crazy thing is that Liverpool can lose this match day and still be 6 points clear at top. So they've got mind the gap at the moment. There's a lot of season left, but
of all the Liverpool players that watch this podcast, obviously all of them do. Mm-hmm. It's okay to lose. Like Xander said, you'll have a 6-point cushion. Take a break this week. I mean, put your legs up.
Self-care.
Don't worry about it.
You need to focus on self-care here, okay?
You don't want to pull a muscle, Salah. Come on, man. The contract, don't even think about it. Just because you're 1 foot out, it doesn't matter. But
doesn't matter. Just
let them win. It'll be fine. It won't matter.
All right. And then to Southampton and Chelsea at St. Mary's Stadium. I have this actually being a rather nervy 3-2 victory for Chelsea. Chelsea, we'll see if their defense can keep up the pace that they've been operating with in the past couple match days. Southampton needs to start getting some moving happening. I mean, there's actually a race for the bottom of the table this year, which is so great to have, rather than last year where it was like, okay, there's 2 teams who are definitely getting relegated and there's one other spot that's a little bit up in the air. There's some serious competition down here at the bottom of the table. But Southampton, you're going to need to start moving up in order to get your name back in that conversation. Don't do it this week. Chelsea does still take the victory 3-2.
Yeah, I don't have it as good for Southampton. I think they've had a couple of good form runs here recently, but Chelsea are just too good. I'm going 4-1, a Cole Palmer hat trick. Ooh. We haven't seen one of those in a while. I think it comes during Southampton. 4-1. Southampton will have to regroup the next week versus a blundering Aston Villa.
Boy, yeah. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to go down here and make this little change here.
Chelsea's one of those fortunate teams that they're not in Europe. And they're really young. So, their legs are going to be fresher. They're not going to be playing as many games. So, I just think that these types of seasons, especially in December, January, they're going to have a bit more fruitful things go their way just due to the lack of matches.
Yeah, they've got a little bit more gas in the tank, and on top of being youthful. Then we go to a pretty interesting matchup. Both these teams are playing rather well right now. Arsenal and Manchester United at the Emirates Stadium in London. How do you have this one going?
As much as I dislike Man U, I was very impressed with their win on the weekend versus Everton. I think this one goes 2-0 Man U. I think it'll be one of those, maybe not fluke games, but you have an Arsenal manager in Arteta who wants to play his style, but also he wants to pick apart the other team and know what they're going to do analyze them, play against their weaknesses, but they've only had a manager for 2 weeks. And you only have such a small sample size of what they can do. United's one of those teams, they have not had anything to cheer about in 2 years.
Yeah.
They beat Everton 4-0 at home. The momentum is all on their side. Arsenal beat West Ham 5-2, but that second half didn't feel like a 5-2 match. It felt like we're just trying to play to keep it here. So I don't know. I think, man, you have the momentum to go into the Emirates and beat them 2-0.
I don't have it as 2-0. I have it as 2-1. But I am looking for this to be a good match. Certainly a better one than we would have expected from this pairing, I don't know, 4 weeks ago. Arsenal would have been the favorite probably of a dull match. But, I could see this being higher scoring than 2-1. Because Manchester United is playing a little bit they don't have much to lose at the moment. They already had a mid-season manager change. They've got their new manager in, so he's still putting things in place, and there's a little bit of livelihood in there. But 2-1 for Manchester United, I think, would be certainly a good result for them. And then to a team that really needs to have a result go their way because they had been flying so high for the season and then have just catapulted themselves off of a cliff. Aston Villa takes on Brentford at Villa Park in Birmingham, also at 3:15, with Arsenal and United being at the same time. This one, I had it as 2-0 victory for Aston Villa, and I kind of want to go back to it now that I've made the change. But I'm going to stick with the away side on this match as well. Brentford wins it 2-1 is what I currently have. Brentford unbeaten in the last 3, so they've got a little bit of momentum. Now, the competition that they were facing was not stellar by any stretch of the imagination, but our Aston Villa has also lost to Bournemouth, and they drew Bournemouth, but they lost to Tottenham, they lost to Liverpool, they drew Crystal Palace, and they just lost to Chelsea in rather manhandled 3-0 fashion. So Aston Villa's got some splaining to do.
I had this one as 2-1. I'm going to change it to 3-1 because I was debating between those score lines. Mm-hmm. I think Brentford also wins it. Brentford has never won an away Premier League game against Aston Villa.
Wow.
And that ends on Wednesday at 2:15. Aston Villa have only won 2 of their last 14 midweek Premier League games.
Ooh.
Actually, specifically played on Wednesdays. So
wow.
It's not looking too good for Aston Villa. Their momentum is down. I just don't know what's going on with them. I don't think it course corrects, though, because Brentford's a team that they like to score, and Aston Villa's been leaky in that usually solid defense.
Yeah.
Some might say the trumpets have gone around 6 times and the walls of Jericho are about to fall there at Villa Park. And I think Brentford's going to blast that bugle and tear it down.
Wow.
3-1 victory, Brentford Bees.
I did not expect a Old Testament reference to occur here. And also
the burning bush has prophesied.
Whoa, now we're just mixing Joshua and Moses all together in a weird jumble for the Brentford Bees, apparently.
Just as John the Baptist lived on honey and locusts, Aston Villa will die by honey and locusts. Giving the Bees 3-1.
Just as Paul survived being bitten by venomous snakes on the island after the shipwreck, Brentford is going to win 3-1. No, I say 2-1. You say 3-1. But still, good for the Bees.
Could happen.
Could happen. And then we move to Thursday with Fulham at Craven Cottage, taking on them birds of Brighton Hove Albion. This is an interesting match. How do you have it going? I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, an Albion looks awfully suspicious. Looks kind of like a dove. And you know what biblical references doves come from. Anyways, no, I'm not going to do anything.
Noah's Ark or the baptism of Jesus. I don't know which direction you're going to go with that one.
Yeah, me neither. All I'm saying is Fulham's going to win 2-1. I think They hold down Craven Cottage. The house is firm. It's built not on the sand.
That's right.
The Hove Albions will fly home with a loss.
The Craven Cottage is built of gopher wood. After 40 days and 40 nights, Fulham's going to take over and get the 2-0 victory. That's what I'm saying here. There we go. And on to the last one for Thursday. Bournemouth and Tottenham. Not super interested in this one at Vitality Stadium. I've got it as a good victory for Spurs, 4-1. Because you never know how many goals the Spurs are going to score.
Yeah, I have this as a 3-3 draw.
Wow.
Here's why. Tottenham averaged 2.5 goals per game against Bournemouth. The highest rate of any side they've played 10 times. Bournemouth are unbeaten in all 4 games they played in the Premier League on Thursdays. So I think that those two things together calls for a lot of goals and a big old fat draw, 3-3 to end it on Thursday.
Well, that is... You're really bringing out the nitty-gritty stats here. The dark... I'm trying to think of like a interesting thing with like dark roast and dark horse, but I don't think that you can like the dark horse roast. It doesn't really make sense wordplay-wise. So that's why I'm trying it out in the middle of our podcast.
We're really making sure we're grinding down the old beans to a fine powder because we don't want any bits in our coffee.
No.
We want to make sure we're drinking pure liquid gold over here at Coffee with a Kick.
Liquid gold. You heard it first. Liquid gold.
That's
just straight Velveeta cheese.
Yeah, that's the slogan.
Straight Velveeta. That's what we drink here.
We are not sponsored by that. You wondered what was in our coffee. It's just the squeezed packets of Velveeta cheese.
You guys think Will Levis drinking mayonnaise in his coffee is weird. Wait till you see our Velveeta coffee, okay? It's wild. It's chunky. It's goodness. Disconcerting. Yeah, Great taglines. Great taglines for that. Okay, well, that is enough wild commentary from us today. We will be back later we'll be back tomorrow, or maybe later today. Depends on how quickly I can get the episode done. We'll be back with our Mondo Thanksgiving break recap episode covering match days 12, 5, and 13. Yes, that makes sense if you know what I'm talking about. Which is match day 12 and 13 of the Premier League and match day 5 of the Champions League. Obviously. Now that I say it, it's obvious. Yeah. But if you like what you hear for whatever reason, then you can go ahead and like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out the Substack. We've got some things in the works for some subscriber perks, so it makes sense to subscribe. Other than being able to leave a comment. If you leave a comment on the Substack, then it will be read on the show if it is appropriate to air. I'll throw in that caveat, and that is at my discretion.
Even if it's not appropriate to air, we're going to read it.
Well,
we just won't say it on air.
Yeah, we will read it. That is true. It will be read. It will not be read on air, though. We will read it and send you feedback saying, this is not appropriate for our show, and we would prefer if you did not send it in.
Cancel culture is canceled. That's all I'll say.
The cultural standards are a thing, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean it's a cancel culture, okay? All right. Well, I don't know. We've gotten off the rails in more ways than I care to count at this point.
If we get 10,000 subs by tomorrow, we will do a shirtless video.
Wow. Wow.
You guys have 24 hours to get us 9,000 subs.
8,900, and I believe at last count it would be 86 is technically what they would need to get us.
That's doable.
That's doable. Yeah. So make it go viral and shirtless, huh? Wow. Well, tomorrow, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, so that's fine.
But tomorrow in America is Giving Tuesday. So what better gift to give
than a sub to Coffee with a Kick? Because you can gift subs on YouTube? I don't know. Anyway, this is we've now meandered our way even further afield. So we will go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer, and we'll see you on the other side. Do Vidsenia. Virginia.